Be not thou envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them. For their heart studieth destruction, and their lips talk of mischief. Through wisdom is an house builded, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. A wise man is strong, yea, a man of knowledge increaseth strength. For by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war, and in a multitude of counselors there is safety. Wisdom is too high for a fool. He openeth not his mouth in the gate. He that deviseth to do evil shall be called a mischievous person. The thought of foolishness is sin, and the scorner is an abomination unto men. If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. If thou forbear to deliver them that are drawn unto death, and those that are ready to be slain. If thou sayest, behold, we knew it not, does he not that pondereth the heart consider it? He that keepeth thy soul, does not he know it? And shall not he render to every man according to his works? My son, eat thou honey, it is good, and the honeycomb which is sweet to thy taste. So shall the knowledge of wisdom be to the soul when thou hast found it. And there shall be a reward, and thy expectation shall not be cut off. Proverbs 24, verses 1 through 14. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We thank God for you, you, and you. And also we're going to say unto the Most High, deliver me from evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forever. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're walking with Mr. Clay. I'm Mr. Clay. We're in the book of Esther. Yes, in the book of Esther. We thank God for you, you, and you. And also we thank God for those of you that have been with us since the beginning, and those that have been with us since here and there's about, and especially those of you who have just subscribed. Yes, we thank God for you, and we praise the Most High for you that you have decided to find out the truth. And that truth is the law. Out of all that you can hear over social media, all you can hear over social media, the whole truth of the matter is the law. That is the whole thing in a nutshell. You will know God if you study the law. You will know the Most High in his most intimate moments if you study the law. You will understand the psalmist and everything that he says if you study the law. You have many people that just shun the law. They shun God. They say, oh, it's been written by King James. It's been written by so many writers. No, they translate it. See, this is the Satan's. Anybody you hear comes up talking about this man and that man and that man and this man. Many single writers wrote each book according to what they experienced in their lifetime. From the prophets, even Moses, he wrote the very thing that God wanted even Israel to accept. And they did accept it in Exodus chapter 19. All that the I Am says, that what we do is what they said. Now, you also have accounts of the law before the flood. If you read the book of Enoch, the book of Jubilees, and the book of Jasher. If you read these books, you'll find out the law existed not as in entirety as it is after Moses, because there is no other law after Moses. Even Jesus did not quote the whole law, which he should have gave. If he was going to be that Messiah or that one, he should have went to the law. He never told about the law. He only said fragments about the law. Apparently, this was made up. Plain and simple. You have to make that up in your own mind. Many of us, we've been bamboozled throughout all our whole life to believe that the Old Testament is, or the New Testament is a part of the writings of the patriarchs of old. Now, as time went by, God had stuck with the law that he had given and that had passed over from before the flood, even with Noah. Now, if you want to know where I'm coming from the book of Enoch, Jasher, and Jubilees. And Noah taught his children. And his children supposedly had taught their children, but their children rebelled just like they did over there when he gave them the law. The law was not to kill. That was the main law. He didn't want them in. Idolatry was another law. In that we have respect unto God and we have respect unto his creation. Yes, we do, which is you and I. No matter how we look, we're his creation. He was, even his animals, he told them to kill and eat. You know, they was able to eat things that were there. But then God gave up to other people that would not follow him throughout the time. And he saw Abraham, a man that was after his own heart, really. He wanted to do those things that pleased God. That's what he means. And the fact is, Abram, he destroyed his father's idols because they did not speak. He understood how that these idols were dumb. They just wood. I can burn them and they would be cast into the fires. The same thing with your Egyptian gods and all these other things. They worship things that, and they attribute things to them just like you do your Jesus. You attribute things to him that really is not so. God has compassion upon the wicked and the weak. Yes, he does. In order that you might come to him through the law. There is no other law. Everything you see in the world is comprised after the law that God handed to Moses. And before that, much of the law did exist. There was a book that God had given the Israelites, or should I say, the children of Shem. And also Noah. He had the book of the laws that God had put before. These books are hidden, or either they're destroyed. One of the two. But we do have a law here which makes good sense because it's fair. You look throughout the law and see what's fair. What is fair? Now, with all of that, we're going to get into the book of Esther. Yes, the book of Esther. We still have the law. This is something, but we're going to get out of the law for right now because it's going to come up in another day after the Sabbath. He says now, in the book of Esther, we're in the book of Esther chapter 1. And we're going to go through this book. There are only 10 chapters in this book. And let us start with verse 1. Now it came to pass on the day, it says Assuerus. This is Assuerus, which reigned even from India unto Ethiopia. Assuerus. I think I said that right. Over 27 provinces. So he had to have an inner circle of governors and guards and armies and all these things to even rule India and even unto Ethiopia. All these things. I mean, so that shows you that India and Ethiopia, or should I say the darker tribes, they were all dark at that time. They had a tie to each other. And they were ruled by Persia. Verse 2, and that in those days when King Assuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which is Shushan the palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants. The power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of provinces being before him. And when he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom, because there were riches. India had gold, Ethiopia had gold. They were very fine, beautiful women in both places. and the honor and his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. 180 days. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the courts of the garden of the king's palace. I mean, beautiful. You have to realize they took over from the Babylonians, so they inherited also the hanging gardens of Babylon and all these other things. They inherit all this stuff. So you say that Israel was in South Africa. Okay, enough of our clowning. But anyway, in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings fastened with cords and fine linen and purple to silver rings and pillars of marble. Now, purple is a godly color. Purple, blue, crimson or scarlet, gold. These things are in the form of lights before the Most High. Some lighter, some darker, or which form other things that we can identify with precious stones. Yes, true. But anyway, purple, silver, rings of pillars of marble. Marble is a beautiful, shiny, and durable stone. Very beautiful stone. Yes. And beds were of gold and silver upon the pavement of red, blue, white, black, and marble. Black too. I mean, you're talking about beautiful colors. Even blue. Yes. And they gave them drink in vessels of gold. Now, these was real gold now, not just paint. The vessels being diverse from one from another, because probably they was done by hand. Yes. Okay. And the royal wine in abundance according to the state of the king. How his taste buds know that it was good wine. Yes. And the drinking was according to the law. None did compel, for so the king had appointed to all officers of his house, that they should do according to every man's pleasure. In other words, they were so rich, it was falling out the woodwork. These people were rich, according to our standards here. But to them, that was just something for the eyes. That was something for them to feast on. This is what all this for, really. Your riches is to feast on with your eyes. Yes, God gives you sight. And by the light of the sun and the light of the moon and stars, we can decipher that light and we can identify what's in that light, and it will show us colors. Now, verse 9. Also Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house which belonged to the king Ahasuerus. Now, on the 7th day, which the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Hadbana, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcass. Yes, Carcass. Even 7 chamberlains that serve in the presence of Ahasuerus. Remember, this is Old English now. They're taking it from their point of understanding. Now, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. Now, men, take this into account. This is what God gives you the woman for. But many women have taken it to the point where they are alluring you and using you with the things that God gives them to attract her husband, to attract her suitor or her mate. Yes, this is her attraction. Not to the point of showing her body, not to the point of over accessorizing herself to that thing, but they did that back in that day too, with gold, silver, and paintings and everything. Yes, they did. Now, he wanted to show her beauty. This woman was beautiful. Apparently she was. She might have been of Indian descent. Who knows? Indian always have straight hair. And they was dark people, yes. For she was fair to look on. Just there were many straight-haired, dark people on the continent of Africa and different places, stringy-haired people and stuff like that. Doesn't mean they're white or anything like that. They're black people, melanated people. For real. Yes, like you and me. Now, but black is a crayon color. They were dark brown people or ruddy people. Yes. For she was fair to look on. Look around you. Look in social media. Very beautiful black women all over the place. All accessorized, all trying to find someone that they could love. But when the woman finds out or figures out that she has not the options, the man does. You might hate that, but regardless, I don't care. The man has options. The woman has no options because beauty fades. And who knows what will happen to the body. You're fortunate if you do keep your body even in your old age. And the time of conception is very limited for most. Now, she was fair to look on. He wanted to show his baby, his wife off. He wanted to show her off. Look what I got, y'all. This is what he wanted to do. Yes, he wanted to show her off. But the Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. What would be the reason? Me, myself, I would give it the Eve syndrome. I want to be equal with God. I want to be better than this Adam. I want to be up there on the level with all of them. See, woman, you have a problem that think this way. God made man first, according to this narrative, which one man wrote in the book of Genesis, and then a man wrote it also in Jubilees and Jasher. He even identified the Satan, there are many Satans, which has a name that had tempted Eve in the garden. Yes, it wasn't no Lucifer, it wasn't no Satan. This devil had a name. I'm not going to tell you that name. You get the book of Enoch, you get the book of Jasher and Jubilees, and you find it. To challenge you to read and understand. This is what the world is doing. They have never read these books. They only talk about what they have heard from someone else. Some paganistic other person that's trying to prove their point to get them to come to their belief systems. Think. There was always one law, and the lawgiver was the I am that I am. Yes, that was who he was. Now, or who he is and who he always will be. Let's put it like that. She decided to buck up, just like Eve did. She decided she wanted to buck up. Who is he? I got this fine body. Look at me. You gonna take all this, and if I say no, I mean no, or you're not gonna get all, you know how these women do it, all this. Yes. Yeah, God blessed you. It's not yours. Many of you, you give away what God has given you to give to your husband, your womb. For instance, giving it to a man that is not even, you're not betrothed to. Giving it to a man that you haven't even, that's not even associated to know your father or your family. Not even a bride price. You give away a virgin, your virginity for nothing. But this Vashti, she saw she had it all. Yes, she probably was a virgin because all of them believed that the woman should not give away what was not hers. It was reserved for the one she should marry. I don't care how cute or how fun or how daring and dashing the young man is or the older man is. It's not yours. Your womb is not yours. It belongs to that man, as well as his ways, and his love belongs to you. I'm not speaking as one. A man can love many women, period. It's just the way it is. You can take the science from there. But either way, let's continue. I digress. Now, the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew the law and judgment. Not God's law, it was his law. It was the law of the Persians. And the next to him was Karshina, Shethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, and Marsina, and Memucan, and 7 princes of Persia and Media. These were black people. These were dark-skinned people. Don't come here with that mess to me. Not even on your social media. Which saw the king's face, which sat at the first in the kingdom. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to the law, because she has not performed the commandment of the king? She bucks up. I want to be with my girls. I want to be with the women. Let's go on a girls' trip. You fool. Woman, you have just really played the fool here. Check out what happens. And this is what many men do when women buck up like this. I'm going anyway to church. If the man say don't go to that little Christian, little pagan church you go to, don't go. Don't go to these other things that cause these little gatherings and stuff. He says don't go, don't go. That's your husband. Your betrothed. Don't go. Oh, he's holding me. Let me digress again. I can get into it, even deeply, demonically into it. Women have rebelled in many ways in this world, and most of their rebellion has been influenced by the West. Now, likewise, the ladies of Persia, Media, say this day unto all the king's princes which have heard the deed of the queen, thus shall there arise much contempt and wrath. Some man allow this feminine, feminine movement, which really is a movement of those who walked out of their gender, if you ask me, to influence those who would stay and be faithful unto who they really are. Now, verse 19, if it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, that it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not tolerated, altered, that Vashti come no more before the king Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. In other words, man, you need another woman. This woman had proved that she had made you, put you down in front of her girlfriends. This girl had put you down in front of her friends, male and female. It's time, let her go. And the king's decree which shall make be published throughout his empire, for it is great. You talking about from India all the way to Ethiopia? Ooh, you talking about Israel too? He was there too now. Shall go to their husband's honor. Both it says shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great. All the wives shall give to their husband's honor. This was the feminist movement she was trying to push back in that day. The same as today, and many of you men are subject to it. You got all this. It rules you. We are gods. We were the first one. And men are backing this up. But those men are not those who you think. They are from those who have walked out of their gender, trying to prove a point, who have disseminated the family, dismantled the families of the earth, and it's still continuing today, who only sees themselves as everybody should be my color and everybody should have my mindset. Everybody should be like I want them to be. And a group of them get together and come to you with science and all manner of evil. When nature itself teaches you, you look at the lion, the baboon. Who is dominant? The male. The female, yes, she has her say. She has what she has to do of the animal world. But yet when the male really steps in, she has to obey and submit. Even the lion. Watch the lion, you fool. Yes. Look at the lion. Learn from him. Watch the baboon. Watch the gorilla. Learn from him. He has more testosterone than you got. All the wives shall have their husbands honor, both great and small, and the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the words of Memucan. For he sends letters into all the king's provinces, and to every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, and every man that should bear rule in his own house. This feminine movement. I don't need a man. Okay? But this is God's doing. God is about to route a deliverance throughout Persia for the Israelites. But he says, every man that shall bear rule in his own house, that it should be published according to the language of every people. God is using this for a reason. And we're going to explore that. But if we keep those things that are right and just, even the law, commandments, statutes, and ordinances before the Most High, we will have peace.